Hello and welcome to Munich as the football world reflects on its greatest ever story. Next season, Leicester City will be playing Champions League football and visiting iconic European football stadium like the Allianz Arena as the champions of England. Tonight, 70,000 people will squeeze into here to see if Bayern Munich or Atletico Madrid will make it to this season's Champions League final in Milan on May the 28th. Tonight is Pep Guardiola's last home European match in charge of Bayern Munich before he heads to Manchester in the summer. And after surprising us all last week by omitting Thomas Müller from his starting lineup, tonight he has been recalled. Bayern have not lost a Champions League match here for 2 years. But if anyone can upset the odds, you suspect it could be Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid. They've already eliminated Barcelona, haven't conceded a goal in any competition for over 10 hours and take a 1-0 lead into tonight after what was a quite pulsating first leg last week. The second leg of Bayern Munich against Atletico Madrid kicks off at 7:45. And here to enjoy it, this special place with us tonight, we've got Rio Ferdinand and Owen Hargreaves. Now, it's not my decision to start tonight's chat with Leicester, but it is quite a special story that they'll be playing as the champions of England in the Champions League. What did you make of it?
Oh, it was phenomenal. Seeing the pictures come through from Vardy's house, all the lads around there. No, I mean, what a feat. They, in terms of the structure of the club, in terms of the depth of squad, in terms of the financial power, they was running behind everyone else. But the team unity that's been created there by the manager and the lads to buy into that. Look at that. I mean, that moment will live with these guys forever, for them fans, with them players. It's just such an achievement to do what they've done. And good luck to them. Next season, I'm looking forward to working and commenting on how they do in this tournament.
Indeed, my house is exactly the same as that as well, jumping. Not quite as many people, I hasten to add, but I mean, how would Leicester perform, do you think, in places like this against teams like Bayern? It'd be difficult, wouldn't it?
Well, just look at the way Atletico Madrid do it. You know, in terms of Leicester, don't need to. You know, they don't have to play great football to win games. You know, they love for the opposition to have the ball in the Champions League. They're going to play against great teams. We'll have a lot of possession. And Leicester are one of the best teams on the counter-attack, and I think it could suit them in the Champions League. The only problem, I think, for Leicester is the quantity of games. So they're going to have that squad depth to be able to rotate and focus on the Premier League. That's going to be very, very difficult.
And of course, keeping the players. It was a remarkable story. I mean, just over 12 months ago, Leicester were apparently doomed to return to the Championship. It's kind of what Leicester do. They go up and down, and then all of a sudden, look at the contrast from March the 22nd, 2015 to where we are today.
But it's weird. I sat on the bench at QPR last season and I watched Leicester City come to Loftus Road and play, and the way that they played, you saw straight away they had an identity. And that's a big thing in football. If you've got an identity, something, a base to work from, a platform to work from, and they've got that. Defend well as a unit, as a back four. The midfield four in front knows that all their roles. And when they win it, there's not a thought about who or where we play in the channels or into Vardy to run onto, and the team move up behind that. That's a way of playing. They all understand their roles. That's a huge factor in football, being able to understand how to play, and they do that well.
We'll have a bit of time to talk Leicester next season. Let's shift it back, of course, to this game here, a huge one. You've both got special memories of this place. You, Owen, have obviously played here, and I think you scored in the first ever game that was played at the Allianz Arena by Bayern Munich, and in fact we've got the goal. Here you go.
To be fair, I mean, I played so many positions. I played left back on this day, and I just bombed forward, and to be fair,
Eden Hazard, shades of.
I didn't get many goals, but normally when I scored them, they were pretty good. And I mean, I don't think anybody would have had a bet I would have scored the first goal in the Allianz Arena, especially with Ballack and Roy Mackay on the team. But
look at the bar.
Lovely, yeah, it's still bad now.
You've got plenty of hair, you're okay. Rio, as for you, contrasting memories, not great memories here. For 2 occasions.
Yeah.
First one, 2010 quarter-final.
Yeah, we got beat.
You weren't happy with the tactics that Sir Alex used that day?
No.
Or dare you say that?
Yeah, I mean, we had a conversation, or we had a shouting match about it, yeah, but
Why?
Things didn't happen. I mean, no, we were used to playing, and we could counter-attack very well in the big games, like coming to here, contain the opposition and counter-attack, and we were 1-0 up, and the manager made a substitution. He was forced into it, and I didn't agree with it, so yeah. I disapproved verbally and on the pitch, and he was waiting for me in the change room when we got in there and hammered me.
And then the next time you played it, of course, David Moyes left you out.
Well, technically I didn't play because I was on the bench. So,
that's
but I wasn't happy. I knew it was my last game really to be playing at a stadium like this, and I thought I'd done enough in the first leg to warrant playing in the second leg, and he didn't choose me. The manager's got to make a big decision, but ultimately I didn't agree and kind of made my feelings known. But I saw Patrice Evra score a great goal, but eventually we went out.
Yeah, you did. Right, tonight's game. Cool, blimey, it's evenly balanced, this one, Owen, isn't it? And the two teams for starters, Bayern Munich. The big story in the first game, of course, he left out Thomas Müller. He's back as we anticipated.
Look, that's virtually Bayern's strongest team. I think the big thing is having Boateng back in this team. Alaba at left back in combination with Frank Ribéry. They're an incredibly good combo. You got Costa's going to give great width on that right-hand side, but Müller, Lewandowski, they've scored a ton of goals this season, and that is virtually Bayern's strongest team. And I fancy them here at home. I think you got two styles. Bayern will dominate possession. Atletico, the best team probably without the ball in the Champions League. Who's going to win the game? I mean, two styles are just so contrasting.
As for the Atletico Madrid, the Spanish team, of course, they've just made one change, as anticipated as well. Godin back for Savic, which is not surprising. Godin's been the linchpin for them.
He's their best defender. He's their leader at the back there. So it's a huge comeback for him. But this team, they understand. They know they're not going to have the ball. At the weekend, they played against Rayo Vallecano in the bottom four, and they only had 38% possession at home. 200 less passes, so they're used to that. This isn't going to be foreign to them. They're going to be here understanding they're not going to have the ball, but when they get it, they'll be clinical. They'll play the ball forward quickly and try and counter-attack in the manner they did last week.
And they do that very well, don't they? They really do counter-attack well, and they're very good defensively, as we saw in the first leg.
But I think both teams are great defensively in terms of the numbers. Two best defensive teams in Europe, but they're able to do things like this. But here we saw this goal here. I think here it could have been stopped, but we'll talk about that later. But this goal, you've got to just marvel at this. And we were talking and thinking, how has he just done this? Because the technique is beautiful.
But I think the interesting thing is, we talk about this being a very defensive Atletico team. They have brilliance in this side. Koke, Saul Niguez. Look at this first strike from Saul Niguez. He had a massive impact on the game. They got Griezmann, but David Alaba. Look how many bodies Atletico Madrid have back. Sometimes shots from distance are an option, and David Alaba can do that, but I thought Bayern could have played for a couple hours. They just didn't look like scoring. Everything went straight at Oblak, and he made really comfortable saves.
They never really created one clinical open chance in the game, and that was a problem. And I don't think they filled the box with many people. And
that should have been two, though.
It should have been two, and it could have been game over. But this Atletico team, I fancy them today to get a result to go through.
Well, the Bayern Munich players just coming out onto the pitch just for their warm-up, of course, still some time to kick off. But in many ways, you look at the way Bayern Munich play, and they're very attacking, aren't they? They're kind of made a little bit for Atletico Madrid's counter-attacking style, aren't they?
Oh, without doubt. I mean, Bayern are going to dominate possession, and Atletico have the players. I mean, they're going to defend deep, but they have the players to punish you on the counter-attack. And you look at this team, look at their last 6 results. You know, they just don't concede goals. They're in every game. They don't have to play great football to win games, and Thomas Müller being back is a massive one for Bayern. But
you know what as well is that they're a team as well that have got players that can actually hurt you on the counter attack. But it's also about being able to sit there and soak up the pressure.
Yeah.
There aren't many teams on the planet who can soak pressure up like that. And
they don't panic, do they?
Yeah,
they're happy to drop in and be organised.
Pure
Having said all that, look at Bayern's last 11 games here in the Champions League. It's quite impressive. There you go, look at that. Some of those results there, they don't struggle to score goals, do they?
Look at home, look at those last 11 Champions League games at home. Scored 41 goals, only conceded 6, and they've won all of those games. So in terms of everybody thinks I think even the bookies have Atletico Madrid slight favourites. I mean, Bayern Munich at home is almost a banker, and I expect them to just have a little bit too much for Atletico.
I think
the
difference is semi-finals. Yeah. They've got into semi-finals and choked. And so put them results aside, get into a semi-finals, a different proposition altogether for me. And they've got to be able to deal with that, and they've got today's that day.
The Atletico Madrid players are now sprinting out onto the field of play towards where their visiting supporters are behind that goal. And they played an interesting game, didn't they, tactically in the first leg. Both, in many ways, they played a game of two halves, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, in the first half they were pressing here. I mean, a manager has to create an environment where the players believe in the tactics, and they see on the training field, first and foremost, that playing with this intensity, the will to win balls all over the park and press, to do this consistently throughout a season, there has to be a genuine belief, and that's down to Simeone single-handedly, him and his staff creating that belief, and it's a powerful thing. And you've got players here like Griezmann, a £30 million player, potentially world-class player, running his socks off, playing in positions that you'd find that are foreign to him normally. But I mean, I think it's great to see. Some people want to see attacking, thrill football that the Barcelonas of this world play and the Bayerns. But I'm equally as turned on by this type of football too.
I suppose the important thing as well is Godin's back. Even though they kept a clean sheet in the first leg, he's quite pivotal to them, isn't he?
Look, he is. I mean, as Rio said, he's their best defender. He's their leader. But I just think this team is, anybody can slot into it. Savic, who was at Manchester City, a lot of people didn't think he worked out in the Premier League. He looked unbelievable against Lewandowski in the last leg. So as much as Godin is their best defender, this team functions as a group. They press the ball as a group, they drop deep. And they're just the ultimate team, similar to Leicester in that sense. They play together, and their success comes from the fact that they're so strong as a group.
What's great is the confidence that he'll install in others. But that individual player, well, yes, he'll slot in, and a lot of players will be able to slot in and out of this team. But the confidence, a leader, the captain, their best defender who they can look to when things aren't going too well as an inspiration, him being in there on this pitch, in this arena, on this stage of the tournament, huge lift for this team.
You can kind of sense the togetherness that they have there, can't you? Even when just in their warm-ups and everything.
I think it's one of the most underrated things in football. You put a group of players together. I think that team we won the Champions League with, Rio, I was amazed at all the different personalities and cultures we had, that we were able to come together, and the camaraderie that we had as a team is one of the most important things. And I think you can have a lot of great players. Look at Chelsea this year. But if they don't play as a group, that's a massive problem.
Do you think they'll play tonight, Atletico, a little bit like they did in the second leg against Barcelona? Or both legs, possibly.
I think that they'll come out and attack like this. I think they'll come out and try and defend high. I think they're best when they're doing this against these teams. Good players, no matter how good you are, when you're pressed, you don't actually perform to the way people see you all the time. Here, this is what they're good at, winning second balls, which they've done all day. Thiago, I think this goal could have been prevented here. If he goes the right side, if he goes goal side rather than this side where he is, go the other side. He turns him back and plays the ball
There's
backwards.
actually no danger, really, is
Exactly.
there? He gets caught wrong side, and look how many problems all of a sudden it causes.
Exactly.
Actually, Bernat makes the wrong decision. He should be able to go press the ball there. He drops off. Alonso misses a tackle, crucial. And then he's in trouble, isn't he? Alaba's in trouble there, 1v1. And the composure from Saul Niguez, who's normally a central midfield player, to pick that goal out was absolutely stunning.
Yeah. So they played the high pressing game, but sometimes they can sit as well.
Yeah, they've got that in their bag all day long. They can. This is where they're comfortable. I keep saying the word comfortable, but to be able to defend comfortably, then all of a sudden a transition to switch from defence to attack. But this is where Bayern, they play like Barca. They've got to actually have players that instinctively know where to be to defend.
2v1 over 60 yards.
You can't do that. You can't get beat at 2v1. But here again, this was late on in the game, I know. But this isn't like something that's uncommon against the Bayern team where they leave themselves open at the back like this. They do this. It's like 3 against 2 here.
3v2.
And this is what will happen today if they get caught on the counter-attack. And they've got to stop this. And Boateng, that's why he's so important. He's the only one really with a real genuine defensive instinct. And he's got to control that back line to stop moments like this happening. This is here where they defend it better, where Mascherano takes up a better position. Goal side against Griezmann. He's the one in the advantage position here. And that's what a defender's meant to do. He's meant to make sure he's in the advantage position when the ball is in the opponent's half. And that's what they've done. They've got to do that today.
They're very clever. How good is Griezmann?
I think he's a top player. I think the sign of a great player is one that keeps improving every year. I think he's one of those players. Every season he just seems to score more goals. I don't think he was a natural centre forward before. He was a wide man, but 30 goals in all comps. That's a remarkable statistic, and I think he's just the perfect fit for this Atletico Madrid team. As much as you can see he's a good finisher, obviously with simple tap-ins, but I think he's a very underrated head of the ball, as we saw that brilliant assist from Niguez. But this is what we'll see from Atletico Madrid today. Griezmann on the counter-attack, he gives them that outlet. They play over the top really quick. Griezmann and Torres, they're going to provide that outlet.
As soon as they win the ball, he's on the move. He don't stand still. As soon as they win the ball and he knows the ball's going to turned over into his team's possession, he is on the move. And here, he's probably their most gifted player. He's in the box defending on the penalty spot. He understands his position in this team. As soon as he wins it, defence into attack.
He typifies that team, doesn't he?
Exactly. That's a sign of a player who understands that he's important to the team, but also will sacrifice elements of his game for the betterment of that team. It's great to have.
Okay, we're getting closer to kick-off. After the break, interesting to hear your voice at the end there, and he'll be remembered here affectionately. But how much does he need to win the Champions League to kind of give a real legacy to this club?
Well, I think for the fans and I think for the media, he has to win the Champions League. I think for the football club and for all the players, even Paul Brighton and Matthias Sammer, all those players, they all said Pep Guardiola's come and improved them as players. I think he's improved in my generation, in Franz Beckenbauer, Uli Hoeneß, in my time. We were incredibly successful, but we weren't probably the most beautiful to watch, most attractive. And he's made Bayern beautiful to watch. Even when they played against Atletico in the last game, they had over 70% possession, more shots on target. So he's made them more fun to watch. But sometimes there's a bit of space at the back. They have all that possession. They're high up the pitch. There is space in behind to counter-attack.
I was going to kind of ask that question. But should we judge him as a great coach if he always has that vulnerability, that counter-attacking thing that we've seen perhaps in the last 2 semi-finals in the Champions League?
Yeah, I mean, well, with Barcelona, he got away with it. And he had the likes of Xavi, Iniesta, and he had Messi, just the icing on the cake. But at the same time, with this team, it's more of a team. There's more fundamentals about the team, and you can't rely on that one individual like Messi to get him out. And here you see that the counter-attacking here is so apparent here. But he believes so strongly in what he does, and he just all he cares about is what we do. What we do, we'll have the ball more than you, we'll score more than you. If you score, we'll score more.
But Reece, sometimes there's a bit of bad luck in that. 2 goals from set pieces, and then you get the third on the counter-attack, 4th on a free kick. You know, they got undone. But if you play forward passes and you make forward runs against this Bayern Munich team, there is without doubt space. Look at this ball. One little flick and he's in. One ball and one flick and they're in.
But that goes to players not having any instinct about defensive responsibility. I think if you're a centre-back, you're judged on clean sheets. You're judged on keeping teams out and giving as much little as away as possible in a game. I don't think the players in this team really are drilled about that.
But the centre-backs are
the innovative side, though. It's something else. And the beauty that he's brought to football will be forever remembered everywhere.
As a player, as one of these Bayern Munich players, they know they're going to be judged on winning. I don't look at a German league and think, oh, they've won the German league, oh, they're a great team. I judge them how they do in the Champions League. But if they don't win, you tell me they're going to be happy that they've improved them as players?
No doubt. I think, look, winning is the most important thing, but I think there's no question that he's improved all these players, and the style is, with all this possession, there's pluses and minuses to everything. With all that possession, look, Leicester proved it in the Premier League. If you have a ton of possession, you know, they can counter-attack you. So this Atletico Madrid team are incredibly successful without the ball. They can counter. So there's pluses and minuses to every style.
You would imagine he'll be trying to get players down the outside, especially now he's got Lewandowski and Thomas Muller in the side, get the crosses in, perhaps cause a threat that way, Rio, get outside of them.
Crossing is and that guy there, he thrives on having crosses and people in the box, and the ball just falls to this man. He knows where to be. His goal scoring record in a German shirt, let alone a Bayern Munich shirt, is phenomenal. Just get the ball in the area and just put the ball in the back of the net.
Look, he's the second leading scorer in the Champions League, 32 goals in all comps, and most importantly, Lewandowski needs a partner. For that Atletico Madrid team that's so organised, Muller, you just get him in the box. The guy scores goals, and he has a knack for just being in the right place, right time, a bit like somebody else sitting at the table.
I've said it so many times. I've said many times, he isn't someone that you look at and think, oh, he strikes fear into me. Dribble, he's got skills, etc. No, he's not. He's one of them players who just instinctively knows where to be on the pitch. And when the chance comes, in these big games, you need players who can grasp that moment in these big games. A semi-final at home, you're 1-0 down. Do I want him on the pitch? Do I want the ball falling to him?
100%.
Yes, I do, 100%.
Yeah, very much so. Well, we're getting close to kick-off now, and the atmosphere is really building out there. I can tell you what an arena this is and what a view we've got. Let's head pitch side, where Reshman is with your co-commentator tonight, Michael Owen.
Yeah, thanks very much, Gary. Yes, we're expecting a full house tonight. The plan, Michael, is to get our hands on that. You and I were at the Vicente Calderon last week. It was electric, wasn't it? Are we expecting much of the same tonight?
I think we are. I mean, the atmosphere's been building all day in the city. It's been a real happy type of atmosphere, but it's really starting to get busy in here now. A lot of noise. And I think Atletico Madrid, they're really experienced in this type of situation. I think they know all the tricks of the trade. If they start time wasting or feigning injury, this could turn out to be quite a hostile stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, last week in another hostile arena, Bayern Munich failed to score. They will be relying on the likes of Thomas Muller, of course, but also Robert Lewandowski. He's scored 38 goals so far this season. It's incredible. But he hasn't scored in his last 3. How much pressure is there on him tonight, do you think?
Oh, there's always pressure on a centre forward, especially when you play as a lone striker. I felt sorry for him in the Calderon. I thought he was isolated. Atletico Madrid play a tight defence. They really squeeze. They play on the edge of the box. So I think Bayern Munich have got to get it wide today. To give him a chance, they need to spread the defence so he can find pockets. He might only get half a yard tonight, but if he does, he's the best man to finish the job.
Yeah, we'll be expecting goals, won't we? Michael, thanks for joining us. Back to you, Gary.
Thank you, Reshmin. Kick-off is just the other side of this break we're going to now. There are